We begin with that tragic story out of Northeast Harris County. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Andy Serrone.
And I'm Lisa Hernandez. It is every parent's worst nightmare. A 16-year-old girl shot and killed in a home this morning, and investigators say her mother's boyfriend was behind it all. This is all still unfolding at a home off Canton Trace and Atwood Hills Lane. Our Brittany Jeffers joining us live from the scene with the very latest. Brittany.
Yeah, and family members are absolutely heartbroken. I spoke with the 16-year-old victim's father, and he tells me his daughter attended Nimitz High School. He says that she was a good kid, a great sister. He says that she had big aspirations, that she wanted to be a police officer or join the military. And he says that he wants answers. He wants to know what happened inside of that home. Now, Juma shared a photo with us. He says that this is his 16-year-old daughter. He identified the victim as 16-year-old Lauren Juma. Now, since early this morning, investigators were going in and out of the home, which was a crime scene on Canton Trace Lane. Now, investigators say that around 1 o'clock this morning, it was the victim's older sister who called 911 to alert them and let them know that her 16-year-old sister was being held captive at gunpoint inside of the house by her mother's boyfriend.
This is the story of Lauren Mackenzie Juma. Lauren, a vibrant 16-year-old, was a student at Nimitz High School who had recently become a member of the cheerleading team. Her passion for cheerleading and the joy it brought her were evident, and she cherished spending time with her family and friends. Dreaming of a future in the U.S. Air Force, Lauren had set her sights on joining her older sister after graduating. Described as a person who brought immense joy to her family, she radiated happiness. Her parents and sister took immense pride in her achievements and were eagerly anticipating her transition into the next phase of life. Lauren was indeed a very happy individual, leaving a positive impact on those around her. This story takes us to Humble, Texas, where on April 29, 2022, around 1 a.m., Lauren reached out to her sister in distress. Lauren explained that her mother's boyfriend, 60-year-old Van Brisbane, was acting strangely, and she urgently needed to be picked up. This unsettling situation transpired while Lauren was home alone with Brisbane. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Lauren's sister promptly called the police to report that her mother's boyfriend, Van Henry Brisbane, was holding Lauren against her will in their home. Additionally, Lauren also placed a FaceTime call to her mother, who was away working at the time. During the call, Lauren explained that Brisbane was standing in her room in the dark, and she wanted her mother to tell him to leave. Lauren's mother promptly called Brisbane to tell him to leave, but the conversation took a chilling turn when Juma screamed, "Mom, he has a gun," abruptly ending the call. Upon the arrival of Harris County Sheriff's deputies at the scene just minutes later, they encountered a grim situation. Gunshots rang out as they approached the door. Then Brisbane exited the front door and was taken into custody, although he displayed a lack of cooperation with investigators. Upon entering the residence, law enforcement discovered the devastating aftermath. Lauren, lifeless, succumbing to gunshot wounds. Lauren and Brisbane were the sole occupants of the residence at the time of the fatal incident.
I just know my baby called me on the phone, FaceTime me. And she said, "Mom, help me." And by that time, he hung her phone up. And that's the last time I heard her voice. I was there for about 3 minutes before I heard 2 gunshots go off. And I could just remember running up to the house and the officers telling me to go back to my car.
Constables went route to the scene. When they arrived, approaching the residence, they heard 1 gunshot coming from inside the residence, heard screaming, and then a second gunshot shortly thereafter. Almost immediately, a male exited the residence and basically stated, "Y'all do what you have to do."
And detectives say that when they went inside of that house, they found the 16-year-old had been shot multiple times. Since then, investigators have identified the suspect as 60-year-old, Dan Brisbane. He's been charged with murder. Investigators say that the teenager and the suspect were the only two inside of the house at the time. They tell us the mother was out of town but has since returned. Now, in the meantime, deputies tell us that Brisbane, the suspect, has not been cooperative.
The chilling details of this tragic incident have left both investigators and the victim's family grappling with shock and horror. The crime scene investigators, recognizing the disturbing circumstances surrounding Lauren's demise, have requested a sexual assault test to be performed on her. The decision was prompted by the unsettling discovery that her pants were found down when she was found. Additionally, witnesses noted that Brisbane was observed pulling up his pants as he exited the door. Brisbane was charged with murder. Prosecutors have asked for a sexual assault test to be performed on Lauren, in addition to the autopsy, to determine whether she had been sexually assaulted before her death.
Well, today a man accused of killing his girlfriend's 16-year-old daughter made his first court appearance just a few moments ago. Also raised the bond for 60-year-old Van Brisbane. ABC 13's Charlie Etzedy is live from downtown to give us an update on what happened in court. Charlie?
But as you mentioned, bond was raised for the suspect in this case, 60-year-old Van Brisbane. The judge approved the state's request to increase his bond to $2 million. That's up from $1 million that was initially set over the weekend. But let's get right into that video from Brisbane's appearance in court. As you can see there, he's still in custody. He was in shackles and in an orange jumpsuit, and he did not speak during this hearing. Now, this is the first time that we've actually seen him in a courtroom because he did not appear over the weekend in probable cause court. Brisbane is currently charged with murder in the shooting death of 16-year-old Lauren Juma, but we did learn in court just now that charge could be upgraded to capital murder because of some pretty horrific details investigators say that they found on the scene. Now, in addition to an autopsy, we've also learned investigators have asked for a sexual assault test to be done on the 16-year-old victim because she may have been raped before she was shot and killed. Now, the judge asked for those test results to be expedited so they can figure out whether the suspect's charge needs to be upgraded. Now, the judge also granted the state's request to increase Brisbane's bond to $2 million.
The revelation of Brisbane's decades-long history of previous criminal charges from both the Phoenix and Chicago areas adds a troubling layer to the unfolding tragedy. Brisbane's niece, present at the court hearing on Monday, expressed her profound shock at the grave allegations against her uncle.
I love my uncle to death. I swear I do. But I will never be able to understand how he did something like this to Lauren. He loved Lauren, and Lauren loved the life out of him.
The investigators from the Harris County Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit have yet to disclose a possible motive for the shooting. As the case progresses in court, Brisbane remains in jail, leaving unanswered questions surrounding the events leading to Lauren's tragic death. Lauren's mother, who had been in a relationship with Brisbane for 5 years, expressed profound shock and disbelief at the allegations against him. She emphasized how Brisbane treated Lauren as if she were his own, making it even more incomprehensible that he could allegedly take her life. She firmly stated her belief that Brisbane should face the consequences of his actions and rot in jail, highlighting the lack of any discernible reason for him to have taken her daughter's life. A heartfelt send-off was organized by Lauren's friends and family, marking a respectful and meaningful farewell in her memory.
I love you, Lauren. Love you, Lauren. Love you, Lauren.
Lauren's funeral, arranged with care and compassion, served as a poignant gathering where loved ones could come together to pay their respects and honor Lauren's life.
O Lord, teach me thy path. Lead me in the truth and teach me, for thou art God for my salvation. But thee do I wait all day.
If you've not viewed the remains, please come at this time.
Our thoughts and heartfelt prayers are with the victim's family and loved ones. May they find solace and strength in their shared memories of Lauren. Rest in peace.
We're starting this heartbreaking story with 16-year-old Lauren Juma.
It is every parent's worst nightmare. A 16-year-old girl shot and killed in a home this morning, and investigators say her mother's boyfriend was behind it all.
On the night of April 29, 2022, 16-year-old Lauren Juma's life came to a sudden and horrific end at the hands of someone she trusted, Van Henry Brisbane, her mother's long-term boyfriend, a man who had been in her life for years, turned into a predator in the place she called home.
My daughter was a very wonderful, caring person. She was very friendly, nice, and she had her friends. Everybody loved her.
A teen's life violently taken away by someone family says she trusted. This once quiet, humble neighborhood still in shock by a shooting that took the life of 16-year-old Lauren Uma, a student at Nimitz High School.
He does not need to be let go or set free, because that a monster like that would kill an innocent little girl, that he was in her life, that she trusted.
Lauren was a bright and loving teenager, described by those who knew her as full of joy and energy. She dreamed of serving her country, whether as a police officer or in the military, and she was just 2 years away from making that dream a reality.
She was like, Dad, I'm going to give me a job, and that's what she did, and I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to get my own car, and that's what she recently just did.
But in the early hours of that fateful morning, her hopes and future were stolen in a way no one saw coming.
Investigators say that around 1 o'clock this morning, it was the victim's older sister who called 911 to alert them and let them know that her 16-year-old sister was being held captive at gunpoint inside of the house by her mother's boyfriend.
At around 1 a.m., Lauren Juma's sister frantically dialed 911, reporting that Van was holding Lauren captive inside their home. By the time officers arrived, they heard loud bangs, followed by a young girl's scream.
Almost immediately, a male exited the residence and basically stated, y'all do what you have to do.
They found Lauren lifeless on the floor, her bright future extinguished in an instant.
And detectives say that when they went inside of that house, they found the 16-year-old had been shot multiple times.
Lauren's family were devastated. They had been in a panic that entire night, starting with the chilling FaceTime Lauren mother, Lori, received from her daughter. Lori had been away for work when she received the chilling call. Lauren told her she had woken up to find Van standing over her in her dark room, and no matter how much she begged him, he would not leave her alone.
Investigators say Lauren was on the phone with her mom and her sister prior to her death, and said she woke up to Brisbane standing in the dark room, acting weird.
The last thing poor Lori heard her daughter say was that she was staring into the face of a firearm. Her voice shaking with fear, Lauren begged her mom to get Van out of her room, to get him to leave her alone. She begged her mom to help. Abruptly ended. I just know my baby called me on the phone, FaceTimed me, and she said, "Mom, help me," and she hung up the phone. That's the last time I heard her voice.
I just know my baby called me on the phone, FaceTimed me, and she said, "Mom, help me." And by that time, he hung her phone up. And that's the last time I heard her voice.
Despite Lori's frantic attempts to reach Van and rush home, she arrived just in time to feel her body grow cold as loud bangs rang out. The man she had trusted for 5 years had done the unthinkable. I was there for 3 minutes before I heard 2 gunshots go off, and I could just remember running up to the house and officers telling me to go back to my car.
Deputies tell us that Brisbane, the suspect, has not been cooperative. Again, he has been charged with murder, currently being held in the Harris County Jail.
Van Brisbane was arrested on the spot, but his refusal to cooperate left investigators searching for answers. Why would a man who had never shown signs of violence suddenly commit such a monstrous act? As they dug deeper, they uncovered his past, a history of violent crimes in multiple states, hidden beneath the illusion of trust.
Alone at home with her mother's boyfriend, the 16-year-old FaceTimed her mom and sister, saying that her boyfriend was acting weird. Her sister and police rushed to the Humble, Texas home in time to hear gunshots from inside the house, according to Harris County District Attorney's Office. Van Henry Bushbond, 62, was sentenced Thursday, October 17th, to life behind bars for the capital murder of 60-year-old Lauren Juma, who prosecutors says he was trying to rape. Mm, mm. Ugh. The defendant was a predator with a gun, and his choice to hurt a young girl and take her life was senseless and horrific. He was only took a promising young woman's life. His actions have destroyed a family. Lauren's mother was out of town for work when she got a call from her and sent her elder daughter to the home to pick up Lauren. Arriving at the home, the sister discovered that Bridgewater was holding Lauren at gunpoint. Around 1 a.m., April 29th, 2022, responding Harris County deputies arrived at the scene, heard Lawrence screams before he followed by the second sound of gunshots. After shooting Lauren, Bishop exited the home and was arrested. Inside the home, investigators found a handgun used to kill the teen, as well as evidence that he tried to rape her, according to prosecutors. Lauren's pants has been pulled down to her knees, and Bishop's pants were also down. Lauren's sounds of anguish were captured in the body cam recordings of arriving deputies, which were not easy to listen to. In a statement regarding the evidence the jury considered during a 9-day trial, the conviction automatically ensured a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole, prosecutors said. It was not immediately clear who had represented Bishop in court. So, in addition to the autopsy, the investigators requested a sexual assault test on the victim's body because they believed that she was raped before she was shot and killed, and I guess raped again. This is just horrible. And so the judge asked for the test to be expedited, but as I'm doing my research on this case, I cannot find what he was charged with because all the articles that I'm reading or that I read were saying the same thing. So I'm just thinking if he got a life sentence, first degree murder, sexual assault on a minor, common sense type charges. But I just think this story is very sad and you shouldn't. And I think people should not leave their kids with just anybody. And I just think this is really sad. And rest in peace to the baby girl. She didn't deserve that.